if you're a business owner and you're struggling to find the time and energy to grow the business because you're so caught up in the day-to-day, well, then this podcast episode is for you. Let's jump into it.
With that, we're back with another episode of BizMeds. We're your neuroscience business coaches, automation experts, and your hosts for the show. My name is Saad.
And my name is Darris, and we're here to give you the minimum effective dose. We're not about overbuilding and overcomplicating things. We're here to cut through the noise, cut through the BS, to really give you the things that work, because this is what we do every day. Unlike some of the, internet fame, social media fame that actually have zero skills in it, this is what we eat, breathe, and sleep and do. So I think, we were chatting a little bit earlier, and today, it's really around, at the end of the day, we have business owners we have a finite amount of energy. We have a finite amount of resources, finite amount of time in a day to really be able to focus on the things that are going to help. And while that's kind of the major kind of focus of the podcast, I think today is going to be, a really good discussion on, well, how do you do that? Like, what are the major problems that we're seeing, when we're talking to business owners, and what's kind of maybe their belief and thinking issues that are causing some issues that we're seeing.
Yeah.
So from your standpoint, Saad, we'll just kind of go right into it.
Yeah.
Because you're constantly, on the forefront talking to new clients and getting new business. What are some of those things? Like, if you had to narrow it down to a couple of things, what are the major challenges that you're seeing with people when you're moving them through and helping them move forward?
Yeah, it's a good question. And again, we were talking about this before because it's something you've seen as well in previously when you were very client facing. So there's typically two ways that I get introductions to clients. It's one is hey, I've done a really good job for Darris. Darris is hey, I'll introduce you to Joe. He is having a similar problem as I am. So then I know exactly what Joe will need. And I pitch to him hey, I did this for Darris. This is what we're going to do. The other one is cold. They have no idea what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I go in and I'm hey, this is what we do. This is the value that has been previously brought. Yep. So why don't we just sit down and talk about all the things that you have? We'll go in, we'll map out a little process of, every different aspect of their business and get an understanding. And the third is, this is somebody has a problem and they're I just need somebody to solve this exact problem. Yeah. And that one I hate the most, because you'll meet this person and they're hey, I need this to be fixed. Okay, well, looking at this, this is what is happening. This is how we would be able to fix it. But if you kind of take a step back and peel a couple of layers back, and you'll see that actually the problem starts over here. And the reason why it's starting over here is because everything back there is not feeding this properly. Mm-hmm. So if we were to solve this, you'll have a better result up at the on the receiving end. Yep. But they're so focused on that one thing. They're well, cool, we can worry about that after. I need you to fix this today. And it's one of the biggest problems I notice with business owners, because they cannot take the time, or they cannot fathom why they need to think about it in a bigger picture perspective. Right. So yeah, again, this is probably not the right answer, but 90% of the times I will take that client on to solve their that immediate burning pain. Yep. In hopes that I build enough trust with them, where I can finally get them to understand, hey, you know what? I solved this problem for you. Now will you listen to me that this is actually the real problem? Right. Because once we do that, the only problem with that is, one, I don't want them to go to somebody else who's just going to say yes and then deliver this problem and then leave them to their their own
devices.
Yeah, exactly. Leave them to their own devices. And then 2 years later, they're oh, Saad, this guy came over and he built this for me. It's it still didn't solve my problem. Yeah. And this is something I'm trying to work on, where I try not to say "I told you so." It's a forever growing challenge, but like, I told you so. You shouldn't have done that. So I feel that if I was to go in and still own that portion of it and then help them bring that step back later, I could still help them get to the most value driven result later down the road. Unfortunately, ends up costing them more in the long run when you look at like the overall client spend. It does end up costing them more because they're paying for the immediate solution and then having us like work our way back, then redo that exact same solution. So it's just, that's my least favorite part, where business owners are so locked into like the one area that's the problem.
What do you think fuels that?
Well, not understanding like how to solve the right problem the right way.
Okay.
Or understanding like where so to answer your question directly, like it's the idea of what they think is going to make them the most money.
Okay.
So, you know, when you talk to a contractor or a consultant, the biggest way they can make money is by working the hour.
Right.
Or that's what they think about. They don't think about like, how do I find new clients, spend the hour, find new clients, and have a team that delivers 3 at once. So same thing with like the business. They think like, if I solve this, it's going to give me 10 grand, instead of like, if I solve this, it's going to create 100 grand worth of like, you know, optimization.
Exactly. Yeah. Interesting. Do you find it is like there's a certain mindset that is associated with a lot of those people?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I think the biggest, the most successful businesses that, you know, I'm sure like you've also seen, are the people that are the thinkers, and people that understand like outcome based versus ownership based. A lot of people feel like, hey, if I own this, I can work on this for the next 3 years. Whereas like if you're outcome based, like, hey, if I did this and my result is, you know, X 5X ROI or whatever it is, I can make up for everything else in the next 8 months. Whereas the other mentality is like, I'll just slowly burn through this over the next 3 years. And by then, like, I would have saved, you know, so much dollars, but you don't realize that you're now 3 years behind what the market has been doing.
Yeah. And so it's interesting because as we were talking about it before, it is, I think, just another example of why we're very focused on solving the right problem the right way. And as much as we can, helping people think about things that way. You know, a lot of the work that we've done and focused on has always been solve the right problem the right way. It's whether it is, I need you to build this application to, you know, I need an app to sell excess supply of this service that we don't even know if there's demand for. And we're like, well, that seems very silly that we would spend all this money and energy doing that. Or is this an actual optimization problem? Is it we don't even know, like we haven't even actually optimized the back end of this to figure out where that is, and should we even have this excess? Right? Like, we can actually figure that out. Or, well, I'm going to use Claude to get this output from my QuickBooks online, and I'm going to throw this information to Claude, and hopefully it gives me this output every time, the same output every time, and I'm going to email that to the shipping company because that's apparently how you use AI, and I'm really efficient now. And if you're in the moment and you're, you know, we talk about leveraging and using AI. Well, there's using AI, and then there's a whole other skill of leveraging AI. And can you take a step back, right? Like, I think you talked about that, and you said that kind of like with those clients. It's like, if you can step back and look at the larger, when you're kind of mapping out the processes or mapping out how the landscape, and you say, actually, guess what? What you're seeing, what you think the problem is just where it's the issue back here is surfacing right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like, that's where it's just kind of like coming up to the surface that we have an issue, but it's actually back here.
Mm-hmm.
And if we solve that, we'll actually alleviate most of that challenge, but we got to focus back there.
Yeah.
And then I've had it sometimes where it's like, okay, well, it takes a lot of energy and time. So what do we have to do? Well, we might have to, for a very short period of time, put a bridge or a short-term measure, in place to kind of solve some of that for now, so that we can then get some, save some time, energy, and resources, operational drag. We're getting back the time and energy to be able to think about that, and then deploy that now to kind of solve that larger problem.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think if I'm hearing you, that's kind of like you say, I take that client on. It's like, well, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to try solve that as best I can, but it's knowing it's not a long-term solution. It's we're doing this so that you can actually bring you down the journey of, okay, now let's go fix the right thing.
Yeah, it's the duct tape. Yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is happening right now. Obviously, you probably hear it, and most of our viewers might be able to relate with it. Is like the AI race, right? Everyone's like, oh, I got to do AI. I got to do AI. It's like the last 5 to 10 years when the whole data race was happening.
Yeah.
You didn't partake in that race because you didn't think it was valuable enough.
What are you talking about? Using Excel everywhere wasn't the solution?
Exactly. And like the mentality at the time was like, well, you know what? My manual Excel sheet works perfectly fine.
Yes.
I'm still competing well against my competitors. And then all your other competitors spent that time building out their data structures and, using it to actually get some insights and improving their business on that.
Yep.
And now they're building AI on top of that data, because then there's some structure to it and there's some truth to it. And you now know exactly what's happening in and out. And then you can use AI to further accelerate that.
Yeah.
Whereas you have most of the people that never did any of that, they're like, well, how do I use AI now? And it's like, well, you can use AI, but it's not looking at anything, because at the end of the day, AI, I know it's artificial intelligence. It's a calculator, pretty much. It's just spitting out information that already exists. And if your information is not correct and it's not stored properly, it's just going to put out the calculations and the numbers and the digits that you've given it, and that's all you have to work with. And then you go back and you're like, well, why is my AI not working properly? Again, you wanted this solution right here. I've given it to you the best possible way of what is available to you, but your problem is back here. This is what we need to fix.
Well, you nailed it. Like, you are trying to duct tape your business together with AI. Mm-hmm. And that is not the solution. The solution is not trying to, apply AI and basically, bandage and duct tape things together to make it work. That's not how you make use of AI. And so you're right. What do you need to be doing? Well, especially if you're slightly larger, you need to make sure you're using data properly. You're using the appropriate technology to store data, because, we continue to say this. It's garbage in, garbage out. And it's the same. It doesn't matter what it is. You have garbage input on when you're providing a service, you're going to have garbage output, right? You put garbage fuel in the fuel tank for your vehicle. Guess what? It's not going to run well. Yeah. You put garbage data or disconnected things in front of an AI, it's going to not have full access. It's going to give you garbage output. Like the principle doesn't change. Garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
So if you start to build proper, storage and data places for that, well, then you can now leverage AI to appropriately get the context of what the connections are, because that's the power of AI, right? It's able to understand or predict and use the connections of things to then predict output. And it can do it much more quickly than us kind of like looking at a spreadsheet over here and a spreadsheet over there. It can link through information much more quickly than we can, which is where you can leverage it, right? To get better insight into things versus, having to, the days of, I will say this, like for those companies like just starting to use Power BI or some type of visualization, those, like, you are already 5 years behind the time, because Power BI and all those things are already being made obsolete by other solutions, right? That do have AI capabilities, that are able to, again, you're able to give context of your underlying data, and then it can propose and shoot you out visualizations on the fly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, cool, like you have visualizations, cool. Like, what does that tell me? The power is being able to interact and ask questions and think about things, not spend all of your time building, you know, a visualization.
Yeah.
To do what? Oh, tell me the thing I already know.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
Costs are down, expenses are up. Okay, cool. I didn't need to spend $1,000 building a Power BI visual to tell me that.
Exactly. And to your point, like there's a lot more value in being able to like already knowing what's happening and using those thinking models to be like, hey, if I was to do this, like what would that trajectory look like for my business? Or it was like, and then it starts giving you like future thinking models or predictive models. Like that's where the value is. Like to your point, like again, those historical looking stuff, 5 years old now.
Yeah.
Like it's more, what can you do with that, expedite that? You don't need that random, well, it's not really random, but like you don't need that person in between doing the Power BI for you. You can now eliminate that and do it exact to yourself with like the faster thinking models.
Yeah.
And prompting them. Like,
or you have super smart people that are able to, in your organization, to orchestrate those types of workflows.
Yeah.
Right. That already know how to do those things, and they're, you know, already kind of like automating most of those things. So it's coming through and providing it to you. So you have it at your fingertips. You don't have to do it. And because most of that stuff really is like, most of it's automatable.
Yeah.
Right. It's just rules and where things are.
Yeah.
Boom, boom,
exactly,
boom. Like it's so funny to me how we continue, like everyone thinks that just hiring more people or using more tokens is the answer.
Yeah.
And I don't think either one of those is the answer.
Exactly.
I think it's actually probably a combination of both. It's when you're able to have someone who can think strategically, knows how to orchestrate things, but is a higher performer. Like you bring the right people in and they are resourceful to be able to understand how to bring resources together to make, you know, a 10x return on what you're bringing in.
Yeah.
Versus, you know, the people who can't
Exactly.
think about, oh, they're so focused on this problem that isn't really the problem.
100%.
So I'm like, we've gone kind of like a nice big full circle on a lot of those things. So what are the other things that you're seeing kind of in this space when, let's just say like, you know, you're presenting options to owners and things that say, hey, we're going to like solve the problem. Like what other resistance do you see happening as to what's preventing people from moving forward?
I think the biggest thing obviously is just not knowing, right? Like for example, if when you go to a mechanic and you're getting your car serviced, obviously a lot of times like they try to upsell you in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But the guy that's actually giving you the value and telling you like the things you should focus on, if you don't have an appreciation of like the different aspects of your vehicle, it all sounds like jargon to you.
Yeah.
Like you're just like, what? I that doesn't mean shit to me. But when you take the time to like actually understand your vehicle and all the different components, and somebody's like, hey, your, you know, front drive axle requires like some type of service. And you're like, okay, you know what, like front drive axle, like that's this part of the vehicle. Like, you know what, I have been noticing all these things. So if I switch that to like the business, it's understanding the different areas.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not a big believer that you need to know every single thing, but you need to have an appreciation and understanding of the different processes in your business.
Yeah.
So if you know what's happening and what's wrong, and some expert comes in, shows you what the possibilities are, take the moment to like, again, you don't have to give an answer right away. Just grab that information, take some time, sit down, review it, and be like, okay, you know what? That actually makes sense. And you can always get a second opinion from somebody else and and see like if that actually checks out. So to answer your question, the biggest resistance is the lack of like knowledge that people have in this area. So the switch I've seen with most owners is like, if I give them something for free and they're able to like play around with it themselves, it starts firing off all of these new ideas in their brains where they're like, hey, I could actually probably do this with this here as well. Or I could probably connect this over here as well. And then when those ideas start coming out, that's when they call me back and they're like, hey, you know what? You did this for me. You showed me this. can you actually also do this?
Yeah.
I was like, absolutely can. Like that's where the value is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, to like kind of summarize that answer is like the biggest wins I see with businesses is once you give them a tool, let them play around with it themselves, then they kind of
So help
understand and appreciate.
demystify some of the things in a kind of a safe environment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's fair. Do you think there's a lot of, I don't want to use the word, I'll say this. Is there a lot of conflicting information out there on AI and all those things?
There is, because
Yes.
there's so many models, right? Like there's so many different, somebody literally just yesterday asked me, is like, hey, should I use Cursor or Claude, or should I use ChatGPT or Gemini? I'm like, what are you trying to solve for? Like, what are you hoping to get out of it? It's like, well, which AI should I use? I'm like, well, they all have different purposes. They're all great in like the different areas that, you want to use them for. So again, what are you trying to do with it? So like, that's kind of like the thing that I'm noticing the biggest of like, like
I feel like we're in the days of when blockchain was like huge with NFTs, right? The non-fungible tokens, and people were spending crazy money on these stupid digital pictures, and they're like, oh, and they're spending millions of dollars, and they're going wild.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like that's what we're in right now in the age of AI.
Yeah.
And there are some legitimate uses, and I think there's like some really great use cases for it.
Yeah.
I think there's like, in terms of, let's just say you're involved in any type of coding, right? You can dramatically compress timeframes around like, hey, like getting code, validating code, and deploying code to like solve, something very quickly.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's that whole like, it's new, and there's so much happening that people are just like, oh, you can do all these things. I'm like, okay. To me, it is very reminiscent of feeling like we're going through the whole NFT craze again. Yeah. And it's like, oh, we can do all these things, but it's like, oh, but did we actually miss out on some like really cool things you could do with like blockchain technology that they're doing now, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's like, and it's all like the hype phase of all these things where, like all these models. I'm like, okay, great. I mean, to your point, like there's a lot of different models.
Yeah.
Is one better than the other? Maybe again, like depending on what you're trying to do. But again, like, are you doing generative AI, agentic AI? Like, what is it?
Yeah.
What's the problem? Like, what is it we're trying to do? Like, are you using it like a Google?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Probably way better than a Google.
Yeah.
Right? Or any other, search engine out there.
Yeah. Like I have a story that like makes me relate to this. And I'll try to keep it very, very short. It's like exactly what you said with like the NFT stage, and when people are like investing and making a lot of money and doing all of this. It's like, for the guy that didn't know about all of it, all you saw was like, oh, money here, money there. Like all these people are getting so rich. Like what's happening? Yeah. But when you take the time to like actually sit down and understand like what's happening, it's already too late.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's happening with AI, where you have so much of like the options out there, and the guy that doesn't know anything about anything is just like, oh yeah, Copilot here. Like, oh, well, what's going on? Like I have this, I'm doing this, and I'm seeing this, and like all these people are automating. It's like, I don't know. The problem is you need to just start somewhere.
Yeah.
You just need to do one thing, like just test it out. And once you start, we've talked about this so many times, the analysis paralysis. Like you just do one, just try, start somewhere, and it will automatically start opening up those like neural pathways for you to like start, okay, you know what? I need to use this for this. I need to use this for that. And like,
I mean, I don't disagree with any of that. If you just trying to learn about AI, it can be overwhelming, right? But it's skill acquisition. It's you have to start somewhere, and in all of that world, just start somewhere, right? Yeah, and choose something, because then there's, then I think it just opens natural pathways to, okay, what's the next thing? It's prompting thing. Okay, what's that? How do I prompt better? Or then, how do I set up this model better to reduce kind of the I saw you had a post on LinkedIn, and it was helping. It was the direction to people to kind of like help your your AI model not spew nonsense at you and burn up all your tokens.
Yeah.
And it's, so there's like that element of, okay, well, how do you keep your model from burning through tokens? You're like, oh, what's a token? Okay, like there's another area of AI that you're going to go into, and then, okay, what's that? Oh, what are all the models? Okay, what does a model mean? Like, oh, okay, well, what are all these things? How does that impact this? Like, are all models the same? What's an open model versus, what are all these things, and how does it impact? And it can very quickly get overwhelming, but you're right. It's just peeling it back, understand its skill acquisition. It's going to be uncomfortable in the beginning. It's going to be overwhelming. Just like all things, right? Just like when you started your business, like all those things feel like overwhelming just because you don't have enough reps in the game. But like you're never going to hit it 100% right off the bat. And then you'll be learning, oh, wait, you might be one of these people that misuses AI in your business, and that's fine, right? But the most important part of this is being able to learn from it and then move forward. Like, oh, okay. And understanding that, how to solve the right problem the right way. That's what it comes back down to. Right. And all the thing, I guess, like really becomes the common theme. It's always the same thing, right? What is the problem you're trying to solve? Is that the right problem?
Yeah.
And are we solving it the right way? And for as long as we can. Inevitably, if we're scaling, right, that problem might come up. But if we can solve it for as long as possible, then we're able to then unblock all these other areas that are going to allow us to grow. And then, we might come back to that, but it's a very different problem that we're solving at that point.
Exactly.
So with that, everyone, we want to say thank you for joining us today. I know we were all over in a lot of different places today, but I think at the end of the day, this video is really important for you as business owners as you try to navigate your way through things and understand the things that are maybe holding you back when it comes to understanding where to leverage AI in your business, or how to automate things, or even just general problem solving to be able to move the business forward. So with that, thank you for joining us. We are your neuroscience business coaches and scaling automation experts. My name is Darris.
And I'm Saad.
And we're here to give you the minimum effective dose. So Saad's mom, my mom, we love you. Thank you so much for always tuning in and the encouraging words, and to everyone who's joined us along this whole journey. 2+ years into this thing, still going strong. We do have another guest coming to join us soon, probably in the next episode or so, which will, shameless preemptive plug, is talk about the side of marketing that no one's really talking about, and kind of give you hopefully some insights that you've not really heard around, and to open that door up in the awareness of the marketing side, that whole demand constraint. So with that, remember, you're just one day away from the life you've always dreamed about. We're going to see you in the next episode.